Today's the day. Just over 3 months after he broke and dislocated his ankle in Tampa, Fred Warner is back out on the 49ers practice field where they're operating at full speed. Beyond that, there's a non-zero chance that Fred Warner suits up for the divisional round showdown at Seattle on Saturday night.
We're taking it day by day. I think they said last week they weren't going to open my window, and then my window's now open. So, we're just taking it day by day.
So what is your expectation, though? Is your expectation to be able to play this weekend? I know you're saying you're taking it day by day, but what's the expectation?
The expectation is to continue to take it day by day and see where we're at.
What a quote. Fred says, well, they said they weren't going to open my practice window last week, and now it's open. So we'll see about everything moving forward. He was moving well out on that practice field. So was Ricky Pearsall, who told me in the locker room that he's optimistic that he will play on Saturday, which would be a big, big boost for the 49ers as they try to stall the number 1 seed Seattle Seahawks. And very fittingly, we've got a FedEx truck right now that appeared to stall, that is just waiting there at the intersection to be towed. And that incident has stopped the trolley. You can see the VTA light rail right behind it. 49ers trying to do that to the Seattle Seahawks, not here at Levi's Stadium, but up in the Pacific Northwest. We'll be doing helmet updates here from Levi's all the way through our departure to Seattle for what is going to be a monumental game on Saturday night. You know, we had a funny comment from Trent Williams today. A lot of Philadelphia fans complaining that he held Nolan Smith on the game-winning touchdown pass from Brock Purdy to Christian McCaffrey. Trent said this.
I didn't see a flag. You only get a speeding ticket when you get pulled over, right? I didn't see a flag, so.
And then to fully put that Philadelphia game to rest, how about a side-by-side look? Christian McCaffrey and Willie Mays. An extremely high degree of difficulty catch for Christian in Philadelphia. I don't think that can be overstated. I think the throw from Juwan Jennings was amazing, and I showed Juwan a video of Jerry Rice on a trick play back in the 1998 season. It was Christmas Eve 1998 against the Falcons at the Georgia Dome. Jerry Rice threw a seed. I mean, it was a thing of beauty to J.J. Stokes for a touchdown. And I showed that to Juwan Jennings, and he said, the next time I see Jerry Rice, I'm going to have to bring that up. Maybe Juwan can have a throwing competition with Jerry Rice. That's a benefit that you have when you play for the San Francisco 49ers. Looks like they might finally, no, they're backing up. Oh my God, I've never seen a trolley throw it into reverse, but that's what's happening here. Trolley going backwards because the FedEx truck was in the way. Wild times indeed. It doesn't make sense. Kind of like this 49ers season. Losing so much. George Kittle had surgery on the torn Achilles today, by the way, but they've lost so much, yet they're in this position with 13 wins, with another shot at the Seattle Seahawks. I was talking about the catch made by Christian McCaffrey. We compared it to the catch made by Willie Mays, but the throw from Juwan was awesome. I compared it to the throw made by Jerry Rice. The catch from Christian in the wind, he got some props for that on the sideline from Brock Purdy and others, but in that Philadelphia wind with a helmet on, in football you can get decapitated at any time. That doesn't happen in baseball. Certainly didn't happen at the Polo Grounds, where the center field wall at the Polo Grounds where Willie Mays made that catch back in New York was nearly 500 feet, 483 away from home plate. So Willie Mays had a good, nice sprint to make, and he didn't have to worry about running into the wall. Christian McCaffrey, though, this game at Philadelphia, there was a lot more to worry about, and he was able to come down with the ball. Anyway, on to Seattle. 49ers in this game, what do you have to do differently? That's a question that Robert Saleh answered today.
We need to do better on third down, and which means we need to do better on first and second down in terms of limiting the leaky yardage that we allowed. You know, it felt like after the first quarter we settled in and played the run game very well. There was a couple of plays early in the game. Obviously the 3rd and 2 that went for 30 yards, the 3rd and 17 that inflated the numbers more than we would have liked. But overall felt like we really settled in the last 3 quarters with regard to the run game. What we weren't very happy about was our third down performance, and that's where, in every game when you could look at it, when offense is struggling on third down and defense is struggling on third down, you're going to end up in a situation where they're hogging the ball, and it's going to be hard to score. We were fortunate that we only gave up 13 points, and we're going to have to play a lot better to keep it that way.
Robert Saleh talked about Seattle hogging the ball against the 49ers, 38 minutes of possession. That's what the 49ers have done to a lot of teams over the Shanahan era, and that's been the stated goal, at least my stated goal for the 49ers this year. Hashtag hog the ball. Well, the 49ers have to make sure that they reverse the trend this time. That will take improvement from the 49ers offense. They went 2 of 9 on third down against Seattle in week 18. Must be better, but that's why we go back to Ricky Pearsall being available. Maybe you don't play the game in a 20-yard box if Ricky Pearsall's available to stretch the field vertically against the Seattle Seahawks. But Trent Williams also should be ready to go again for the 49ers. Remember that he toughed it out through a hamstring injury last week. And he did give up 6 pressures against the Philadelphia Eagles, but he didn't get a traffic ticket. He didn't get pulled over against Nolan Smith on that last snap. Anyway, Williams did not play against Seattle in week 18. It was Austin Pleasance instead for the 49ers. This is going to be a bear of a matchup for the 49ers offensive line. It's one that they failed in week 18, but they're going to hope that Trent can dig deep and that this line can find a way to tilt momentum into its favor. When you've got Leonard Williams and company up front, DeMarcus Lawrence had a big win against Colton McKivitz. You've got to come ready to play, and I think that the one way that the 49ers can make sure that this goes downhill instead of uphill is if they make some short completions early. It doesn't appear that they're just going to be able to run on Seattle. They didn't 2 weeks ago. They didn't in week 1. They didn't really run on Philadelphia until the very end of the game in the wild card round. I think that you've got to pass to set up the run if you're the 49ers, and you're going to have to hit some rhythm passes early on, which is why having Ricky Pearsall back out on that field is important for the 49ers, because he can instantaneously create some space with defensive backs slightly further on their heels. That allows you to attack underneath because they're worried about what somebody like Ricky might be able to do over the top. Let's hear from Clay Kubiak on the trick play touchdown, because I think that given the dynamics of this game, given how good Seattle is, this is a historically good Seattle Seahawks team. 14 wins in that regular season. You might have to see the 49ers work their way to some greasy production on offense again. They needed to do that given the lack of separation against the Philadelphia Eagles with Ricky Pearsall out, with George Kittle hurt, and Kittle obviously having been part of the game plan. This game, even if Pearsall's back, even if you're all ready to go and everything is locked in and nobody gets hurt, I think that you might have to find some greasy production just by virtue of how good Seattle's defense is playing. And that's why it's good to study the play that delivered for the 49ers that tilted the game in Philadelphia.
I suggest lots of plays, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I think we liked that play going into the game because of the coverages we were going to get. We thought it was a pretty safe call. Wasn't many things they would do that would make it a bad play as long as we executed it. And we had the timeout. We had the end of the quarter, so it kind of gave us some time to put some thought into what we wanted to do. And we're on the right hash, which is what we have to run that play on. And I just saw it on the call sheet, and I was like, this might be good. Suggested it, but that's kind of how it goes the whole game. Kind of suggest things, and some get called, some don't, some work, some don't. But that one was a good play. The guys executed, so that's what mattered most.
You had run the reverse to Sky. Was there anything that you saw, the way they reacted to that play, that you thought maybe we could come back to it right quick?
Just the coverages they played the whole game, we knew that was going to be set up, and that was nice to call the jet sweep to Sky just to show that we were going to give him the ball. And maybe it got those guys to play him a little more, but it was just really more based on the style of defense and the coverages we were attacking.
Early in the play, it seems like the safety picks up or at least notices Christian coming out. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're up on high. Are you watching that and freaking out at that moment?
I mean, yeah, he was in a position where I thought he could play it, but clearly he kind of got caught in that no man's land, not knowing what was going on, which was good. But Juwan's coached up on that too. If that safety does take Christian, you either got to run or throw it away. So we had a plan B.
Well-coached players, masterful execution for the 49ers. And we've talked so much this week about Kyle Shanahan and Clay Kubiak being in their respective bags. Well, Clay did talk about his relationship with Kyle and how it has evolved from that play calling perspective.
I just think over time, the more comfortable I get, the more comfortable he gets with me, the more I'm involved in game planning. I just think it just kind of naturally, I see the game as a play caller. As the game goes on, I'm looking at it through the eyes of I'm calling this game, and so whenever the time comes up to suggest something or I'm asked for a suggestion, I feel like I need to be ready. So I put myself through those scenarios. I put myself through that lens of I'm calling this game, so when Kyle needs help, I'm prepared to give him suggestions. I think Kyle's kind of gotten to a point where he knows that I'm thinking that way, and so we're kind of on the same page. And then it's all about the preparation through the week. We prepare together. We go through all the scenarios together. We talk about situations. Him and I are very much on the same page with those things. And I just think it's just the time working together, the time on task, and the relationship to where we're in a spot where we can kind of, hopefully bounce ideas off each other and go from there.
This is going to be a real battle of the minds. Look, the Seattle Seahawks are finally getting towed. It took a while, but the FedEx truck is on its way. It's being carried, kind of like Matthew Stafford by the Rams defense and run game this year. Anyway, I digress. We're going to go back to the battle of the minds. And, if there's an antidote to what Kyle Shanahan has been able to do for not just the 49ers, but the league, because everybody seems to be copying the Shanahan and the McVay style systems, I think it's Mike Macdonald. And you can see it just through, some of the X's and O's and some of the talent that's been emphasized by the Seahawks defense. They went out and they drafted Nick Emanwuri out of South Carolina. This is a joker type of player. He's technically a safety, but he also is a run stopper at the level of a linebacker. He's somebody who can combat both the run and the pass, and it allows the Seahawks to be in nickel. They were in nickel or dime for 100% of their snaps against the 49ers in the Week 18 game. And that is an absolute cheat code because you're ready to defend the pass, yet you can also defend the run, right? Normally when a team is in nickel or dime, that's lighter alignment. It means you take a run-stopping linebacker off the field and you're more vulnerable against the run. Yet the Seahawks shut down the 49ers run game despite being in those nickel or dime alignments. And it's going to take everything from the 49ers brain trust and that coaching staff to fight this Seahawks coaching staff and the adaptability that Mike Macdonald has implemented up in the Pacific Northwest. And that's why the geometry and the math and every edge that you can get is so important. And that's why the Pearsall inability to play back in Week 18 was so damaging to the 49ers because the margins here are going to be razor thin. I think at the end of the day, the 49ers offensive brain trust is going to, Ben Barch just drove by. I said, what's up to him? He gave us a little bit of a nod. I think at the end of the day, the 49ers offensive brain trust is going to play this to a nice draw against the Seattle Seahawks defense. I think the 49ers will find a way to move the ball and score points, and it's going to be a struggle. They're going to have to fight for every single yard, but I think that it's probably going to look a lot like it did in Week 1, a game where they lost George Kittle, by the way, after the first drive, and they were still able to score those 17 points. I think that it's reasonable to expect the 49ers offense to produce in that ballpark. Then the question in this game is going to be, can the 49ers defense, as shorthanded as it is, keep a lid on the Seattle Seahawks and maintain game control? And the key for that is going to have to be stopping the run. Seattle had 180 rushing yards in that first matchup. But it was interesting to hear from Robert Saleh thinking that for the majority of the game, he thought the 49ers actually did a solid job against the run. There are obviously glaring errors on the 3rd and 2, Zach Charbonnet long touchdown run, and then on the 3rd and 17, which was probably the most embarrassing 49ers defensive rep of the season. But outside of those plays, Robert Saleh thought that the 49ers held their own. And now, the biggest kind of change, you could say, well, fine, but they held their own outside of those plays, but won't Seattle just have a couple big plays that punch the 49ers in the gut again? The 49ers hope that the changes they've made defensively in the short period of time since that Seahawks game, with 3 new players, maybe 4 if Fred Warner can be back in there, but with Eric Kendricks starting at linebacker, Garrett Wallow in there, D. Winters is practicing, so maybe D. Winters is a shot to play as well, and with Marquise Siegel now on the back end, the 49ers hope that they will eliminate the lack of gap responsibility that created the devastating couple plays against the Seahawks, that they'll be able to play a clean game like they did against Philadelphia. And a lot of that does circle back to Eric Kendricks and that Mike linebacker position that we started this show talking about because of the looming presence of Fred Warner.
The assistant linebackers coach is responsible for anyone new in the building to just make sure they're getting caught up while the position coach is working with the guys who are getting ready to play. So KJ's put in a lot of hours with Eric and Wallow, for that matter, to get them up to speed. And when it was their time to step into the week, it goes to Johnny. And like I said, that's why both of them just outstanding job in preparation over the last month with those two.
And it's so cool that KJ Wright is going to have his fingerprints on this game based on how he's prepared Eric Kendricks and Garrett Wallow over the course of the past couple of months. And KJ is a former Seahawk. Last time the 49ers played the Seahawks in the playoffs up there in Seattle, the game featured KJ Wright. It featured Richard Sherman in a Seahawks uniform. I know 49ers fans probably don't need to hear any more about that game, but KJ, a big part of 49ers Seahawks history, a big part of Seahawks history, now on the 49ers side, and he's helped bring these 49ers linebackers up to speed in a year where they've had to dig deep into the depth. They're on their 4th starting Mike linebacker. These behind-the-scenes stories are everything, right? These behind-the-scenes stories are what has allowed this to function at such a spectacularly resilient level for the 49ers. And another cool connection is Gus Bradley, who's on the 49ers staff now. He was the original architect of the Seahawks Legion of Boom defense. And Robert Saleh shared a quote from Gus Bradley today. He says he tells all the 49ers rookies, the mother of learning is repetition. And Gus apparently has great stories every single week before the 49ers play games, and he's able to take life experiences and stories that seemingly have nothing to do about football, and he ties them in to football. I think that his wisdom has been massive for the 49ers, and it just reminds us that Gus was Robert Saleh's boss back in Seattle, and now Robert Saleh is technically Gus's boss. Although Gus is just assistant head coach, he's kind of just this savant that the 49ers have in the building. Now they're with the 49ers heading up to Seattle to play the Seahawks. I absolutely love the symmetry of all of that. Robert Saleh talked about the energy that Fred Warner brings to the 49ers on the practice field. I think that's something worth playing right now.
Just pure energy. Fred's the ultimate energy giver, and so just having him out there is awesome. And so yesterday was a little bit more tempo down, but today, obviously with higher tempo, it'll be fun to get him out there, see him running around.
And that Saleh quote was before practice. You've now seen Fred Warner moving really well during practice. That energy has carried over to the 49ers team. Trent Williams might have had the best quote, because right now there are going to be people debating about whether or not Fred Warner is going to play on Saturday. Why don't we just take the big picture, though, and listen to big number 71?
For me personally, I just think the fact that Fred has a jersey on, less than 100 days after what happened to him, that's just uplifts the team. Whether Fred takes the field in these playoffs or not, that's motivation, having him near, just having his face in his locker room, it's motivation. It helps everybody.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it. Either way, the 49ers have benefited. And they have that's an embodiment of the mentality that they have as a team right now. House money, they feel that they've maximized this season which is why there is this feeling of zen in the locker room. It is as loose as I remember it since 2019 in that locker room. There's a level of zen combined with intensity. Some of it can feel paradoxical because you could say that there was tension during the final drive of Philadelphia, yet there was calm at the same time. There is zen, yet there is gripping intensity at the same time. The 49ers are finding a way to make all of this coexist when it comes to the vibe in the locker room. I wrote about it in my big tweet last night. The most relaxed, easygoing vibe I've felt in the 49ers locker room all season, maybe in years. Might be impossible to ever match the 2019 in this regard, though. There's excitement in the building surrounding Fred Warner's potential return. That man can't stop smiling right now, and obviously we see him on that 49ers practice field moving very, very well. But behind it all, there's this eager calmness, almost zen-like in the 49ers locker room. The win in Philly might have unlocked that. Rookies and vets alike know that they've maximized the hand that they were dealt, and now they can fully embody a nothing-to-lose mindset. The 49ers were clearly in rest and body recovery mode on Tuesday, but they were back at it full speed on Wednesday. They haven't been shy about their desire to face Seattle again. There's a combination of real respect for the Seahawks and a prevailing thought amongst the 49ers that they didn't put their best foot forward in Week 18. Chance to atone is approaching, and this is going to be a little bit of a test for those of you who watch my videos. We'll see if you watch until the end, but I do predict that Fred Warner is going to be out there for San Francisco. Just a hunch. They're taking it day by day. Here's some more interviews from the locker room.
How's the knee? He's feeling good. He's feeling good, chugging away at the rehab process, just getting it feeling better and getting ready for this next game.
What's your plans for practice today? Will be limited out there?
I might be. I don't really know too much of how they're going to take care of me during practice, but I'm definitely going to be doing full speed stuff regardless, just trying to get ready for this upcoming week.
You fight the urge to be telling them, I'm good to go, as opposed to listening to your body and being realistic.
I think it's more just communicating with the trainers and seeing what the best plan is for me. Obviously, I want to be out there and play each and every game. I've been playing this game since I was 7 years old, so I'm trying to play every game until I hang the cleats up. So it's about listening to the trainers and the doctors and seeing if I'm ready to go.
Are you optimistic about your ability to play?
Yes.
Are you hitting your full speeds and stuff like that? All the sort of the numbers that you want to see?
If I'm being honest, I haven't ran full speed to hit those numbers that I've been hitting before since honestly probably week 4. If I'm being honest, I haven't hit the numbers that I've hit before that. So, but that's okay because this game, especially my position, you're not running all out full speed to hit those numbers in your routes anyway. So, you're still able to manage, and I still got really good speed right now anyway. So
you're looking more about cutting and making moves on the defensive back.
Yeah, for sure. Cutting, and just being able to do my job at the fullest ability at the end of the day, For me, that was the only thing that was holding me back is can I do my job? And, I feel like I couldn't. I had a lot of swelling in the knee. I had a setback in the Bears week, and just is what it is. And, I had to do everything I can to get back and be out there for my guys.
Will there be surgery in the off season?
Honestly, I haven't really put too much thought into that. I'm just, still listening to what the doctors and trainers say to get back for, this season still. So, I'm doing everything I can, in that regards, but, I don't think that's anything to worry about right now.
After the setback in the Bears week, at what point did you know that first Seahawks game probably wouldn't be a go?
I like to be optimistic, each and every day and take it one day at a time. And, I kept telling myself, we're going to get back and we're going to get in this week. But, just seeing how sore I was and how I was moving, honestly, I didn't think I was going to play if I was being realistic with myself. But I was still each and every day taking it one day at a time and trying to get back as quick as possible, whether that was the Seahawks week that week or going into the first playoff game. And obviously, unfortunately, I couldn't make either of the two, but I'm doing everything I can this week to make this one.
This will be obviously your first playoff game. How exciting?
I wouldn't say that much, Obviously, Jordan is a huge part of what we do. So, like I said, after the game, I don't think anybody would have blamed us for not being able to pull that out with losing a guy like George that early. But you know, George's spirit, the energy, it lives through this team. So I mean, just even talking to him in the locker room, he was like, you know, obviously he wasn't happy, but his spirits was just really in a good place, you know. And it gave us that, you know, that resolve to say, okay, our brother's good, you know, let's go do this for him.
At halftime. Is this a different kind of, I mean, we know this locker room has been good, but has it been even better this year for some reason, or just because of surviving all these things?
Yeah, I think it's brought us closer, 100% sure. We've got guys that came in a month ago, guys came in 2 months ago, guys came in at the beginning of the year, and you know, it's just been a collective effort to bring everybody along and try to get everybody up to speed. And you know, I think just that in itself has brought us all closer.
Speaking of that, when it comes to obviously the heart and soul of the locker room, that's what you guys were saying about Fred when Fred went down. He lost the heart and soul of the locker room. But it's the same sentiment. You lose a guy like George Kittle, it sounds like. But then you get a guy like Fred back, coincidentally, right after George Kittle goes down. Is that somewhat of a motivator or offset? Like, what is that in the minds of you guys?
For me personally, you know, I just think the fact that Fred is even has a jersey on, you know, less than 100 days after what happened to him, that's just uplifts the team. Whether Fred takes the field in these playoffs or not, that's motivation, you know. Having him near, just having his face in his locker room, you know, it's motivation. It helps everybody. You know, so yeah, I think getting him in the wake of losing Kittle, does it make the loss any easier? No, but I do think that it does give us a little bit of boost of energy just seeing his face.
There's a lot of talk here about how important culture is to this team. Was there, I don't know, a moment when you got here where you realized that, well, this place is different?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my first walkthrough here in 2020, full sprint, and I never once in my life seen that. And I'm looking around for guys to be just as confused as me or complaining, kind of like, yo, slow down. And everybody was moving at the same pace. So it was like, oh shit, you gotta get along. You gotta come along with them and kind of fit yourself in this culture. And you know, that wasn't hard to do in my opinion. Just because I mean, obviously I got a lot of faith in Kyle, but just seeing his thumbprint on this team and seeing how perennial All-Pro, Pro Bowl guys like Fred, Juice, Kittle, everybody was bought in. Everybody was bought in, and they, you know, it makes it easier for not only myself, but for everybody who's new stepping into this locker room. It makes it for like a soft landing spot. You know, when you got everybody in here pushing the same theory, pushing the same type of production that we expect out of each other, everybody holding each other accountable. I think it all helps this locker room maintain the character and maintain the, you know, I guess you call it the standard what everybody would expect.
Trent, sorry if you've been asked this. Was that a holding call? Was that a holding call?
Which one?
A lot of Philly fans were discussing on the game-winning touchdown pass. Oh, Trent was holding.
Oh, really? I didn't see a flag. You know, you only get a speeding ticket when you get pulled over, right? I didn't see a flag, you know, so. I think it is. And I mean, obviously we got a reason to feel that way, but I think so. Like I said, you look at all the people that we have contributing to this run right now. A lot of those guys wouldn't even know any 49er fans' radar in August. You know, a lot of those guys wouldn't even in this locker room in August. So, yeah, I think this is more of a selfless locker room than others because it's lack of all the superstars that you're used to. Like a team this successful usually has a Rolodex of superstars on the roster, you know, and we don't have that. We just have a bunch of guys that's bought in, a resilient bunch, and they just play to the whistle no matter what.
Thank you. Rewatch the play in the beginning of it all, like to really just soak it in and see what I did to myself, right? And once I was able to own that and just be able to attack the rehab process, everything was a go from there. So, that part's behind me. Now it's football is football.
On the emotional side, what was it like to be out there yesterday?
It felt like another day at the office. It's just been like I've been away for a little bit, but being back, having the practice jersey on again, being back out there today with the helmet on and running around with the guys, I'm sure it'll be great. But I'll have time to reminisce on all that after it's all over. My only goal right now is to have the best day every day to have a chance to be in Seattle.
What was your most difficult thing going through this, and how did you deal with it?
Yeah, I've spoken on it a couple of times, like on my podcast and stuff, like just moments where I was on that scooter and just couldn't really fend for myself and having to rely on my wife a lot. I never sustained a serious injury like this, so having to rely on my wife and other people around me to kind of help me along was tough in the beginning, but once I kind of settled in and started attacking the rehab process, it was a lot better.
What were your emotions on Sunday as the numbers were coming off in Philly and as you watched that game?
Yeah. The feelings were intense. I remember pregame watching that because I'm at home and my wife was watching me kind of pace back and forth. I couldn't even sit down. Like the energy, just being at my house, knowing that what they were getting themselves into going on the road against Philly in a hostile environment. Like those are the moments you dream of in the playoffs against a really good football team. And so to pull that off was outstanding. Another big test this week.
How do you travel either way this week?
We're still deciding.
How do you able to use your progress as motivational to possibility? And told me, get here and I'll be there, that sort of thing. And targeted next week potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously had communication and conversations with my teammates the entire way about it, right? But everything that they've done on the field up to this point has been a testament to them and the preparation that they put in every single week. And obviously I'm here just to be a resource where I can.
All right, thanks. I'll say this rookie year, you're going to have your ups and downs, but one thing you got to have is your confidence, and that's one thing I'm always have. I trust in my ability that I'm able to go out there and make a play anytime. My teammates trust me, so I just got to go out there and make it.
And do you take like any advice from the leaders or even like 49ers legends? Do you reach out to them like for advice or anything?
Mostly just stay ready when your number is called, and that's just the same mindset I carry each and every day. When I got sat down and had to learn, had to develop, just stay ready when my number is called, and just preparing my mind for it, preparing my body for it, and fixing mistakes I needed to fix. That I felt I needed, that I was showing weaknesses.
And what will you tell us about a guy like Robert Saleh, what he brings to the table?
He brings you to want to play with confidence. He brings you to want to learn more about the defense so you can go out there and make plays, because in this defense you can make plays that can bring your name to life.
Right, and finally, you grew up being a 49ers fan, right? I remember that from draft day. So how special is to play for this team?
It's huge. Every time I talk to my dad, he reminds me of just how proud he is for being. This is his team. This is where it started, and it's just a blessing.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
It's easier said than done, though, to be sat down when you're out there playing, and then all of a sudden they go, you're going to take a step back a little bit. How was it presented to you? Just matter of fact?
Yeah, it was just matter of fact. Just it happened. Like Jair went down. Nobody expected that. But it's just like when your number is called, you got to be ready. That's what this game is for. That's what you prepare for. So that's what I try to do.
Were you going into every game as if you were still playing safety and
starting? My mindset each and every week is that any chance I get, I'm going to be ready for it. So that's what I train my mind. That's how film study, taking care of my body. Everything is the same. Nothing changed.
Did anybody need to pep talk you or anything?
Nah.
No, really?
I believe in myself. I have high confidence that I can go out there and make a play, and I can do what I did and do what I can keep doing and what I can see. I haven't even showed a lot, but there's more to come.
Was there any play in particular over the first few weeks of the season that turned into a big learning moment for you that I want to correct?
I'll definitely say that Rams game. That was a big wide opener. That was a big game that really showed what the NFL is like, how they're going to attack you, how they're going to attack me. So that game was a big eye opener about what I needed to work on, what truly I needed to study, and what did I need to fix.